Right, welcome again. This is session 4 of 5 for the Cambridge CAE exam preparation for my wonderful group of participants from Uzbekistan who are participating in the TeachX 2020 competition. Right, I'm just here waiting for my participants to come along, so I'll be back with you in just a moment. Um, Right. Welcome again to the CAE workshop for the TeachX competition. This is session 4 of 5. Today we're going to be focusing on listening, the listening aspect of the exam. But I want to begin with reviewing a bit more about the written. Okay. And in saying that, I'm just going to jump right into it. Let me, right. And I want to look more specifically at the sample examinations that I gave you. I hope everyone has access to them. I double checked the links. Everything was supposed to be working. I'm just hoping that everything is. Right. Now, I very quickly gave you an idea how you could best use these. I'm saying this because the written part of the exam is probably going to be one of the most challenging. Okay. Um, it's a challenging exam, all of it, but here I think we need to spend a little bit more time because we have several examples here. We have 3 examples of the essay, and then we have an example of each of the other tasks in the sample exam. And we will have the same in sample paper 2 that I'll provide for you. Right, I'm trying to do this. Okay, right. Um, sorry guys, just bear with me here, just a moment. Let me get refocused.
Olympic Games are such.
Right, okay. Now, and these, what's important here is you can see the marks. And I was looking at this. Okay, here in content, this student, he got a 5. How did they get a 5? Okay, this student, okay, they got 4s here. Why did they get 4s? Here, this student, okay, another 5 in content, and then this is question 2. But the idea here is look at the higher scores, and I could very quickly open up. Let me just get back here. Let me click out of this. Sample paper 1 will go up. Let me just look quickly at the sample paper 2. The writing. No, no, that's not what I wanted. Right. This is what I want. We'll open this in Google. Right. Ah, let's see what the scores are here. 5332. I was hoping that we had someone with excellent marks. 5444. These are good marks, okay? We probably can't get a 5 in all the categories. Hopefully you will. Here we have a 5443. Okay. The idea is analyzing first. Let's get the. Let's just jump back to my other one. Right. Um, Now there are different ways you can approach this because you need to practice doing this: essays, reviews, proposals, reports, and the letter. Okay. We need to practice doing all of these. But what we can do is look at the sample exam. There's different ways we can do this. It depends on um, your 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 perspective and what's a better, let's say, a learning strategy for you. You can either look at the exam question, do the question, answer the question, write the essay or the review or the report, okay, and then compare it to the um, the answer provided in the sample paper, and then compare it and maybe try to give yourself some marks based on this criteria here and their remarks. Try to understand how this would apply to what you've done. Okay. Or you could first look at this example, analyze it. Okay. Understand the things they did well, like the use on the other hand. You have um, the different devices that you use to put all things to connect the different paragraphs together, linking devices. Okay, analyze that and see what they've done well, and then think about that as you're writing yours, and try to apply these things that you've seen here, avoiding the mistakes that they've possibly pointed out, and to focus on how we can utilize these different instruments to, or these devices, to help us improve our essay writing skills, review writing skills, proposal writing skills, etc. Guys, um, did any of you attempted the any writing tasks? I'll take the silence as a no. Right. Um, now, has anyone had a look at this? Now, this is the link I have to my site. This is the writing part one. Okay. I didn't go through all this with you, um, and I think it's a lovely tool to help you get your mindset in the right place and to get structured and organized for your paper. Um, let's do the listening. Let's work on the listening, and if we have time, and if you care to stick around, we can go through this and maybe spend a bit more time on the writing activity. Okay, but in the meantime, let's jump into the listening. This is our student book, right? Has everyone um, accessed the student's book?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, I couldn't access. I couldn't have access.
You, did you try, or
Yeah, but there was no linking. I don't know, in our group, there was no linking or no any video lessons.
uh, well, this is disturbing. Wait, let's get rid of
Yeah.
this. Let's get rid of this. Right, and let's just go have a look. It's important that you have access to the materials. And let me count. Bear with me just for a moment. Right. Welcome to those who have just signed on. And let's see. Okay, let's look at number 3. Let's just pause this. Right, okay. Now, okay, so the student's book. Now, if I click on it, let's see what happens.
Hmm?
It should open
Students
up in
book,
your
yeah.
browser. Right. And then you click on this here to download, and it'll download it onto your computer.
Okay.
Right. Any other problems with any other links? I believe I checked them and double checked them. Let's see the daily task. Let's make sure you have your homework. It should open. Right. Okay. Yeah, you have access to everything. Well, maybe if the first time it doesn't work, then maybe try to click on it again. It might be there might be some technical difficulties with the internet or whatever. Okay. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to look at this information on the site, on the Cambridge website. Now let's just have a look at the frequently asked questions. Right. Okay. Um, okay. For the listening, how many times will you hear each recording? Twice. Right. Where do I write my answers? On a separate answer sheet. Right. Okay. Let's see. While you're listening, you can write on the question paper, but you must transfer your answers to the answer sheet. You'll have 5 minutes. You'll have 5 minutes at the end of the test to do this. Oh, okay. Right. So you're gonna make notes and then fill in your answers within the last 5 minutes of the exam in the listening. You listen to the recording twice. Okay. Just a moment. How important is spelling? At advanced levels, accurate spelling is very important. In the listening paper of C1 Advanced, you must not make any spelling mistakes. Right. It'll be counted against you. Can I wear headphones? You'll have to ask the center. Different centers have different rules, basically. Okay. And let's look at the do's and don'ts. Right. Listen to all the instructions in the test and read them too. They're going to dictate the instructions, but also read them. It's really important to understand what you're listening for and what you have to do. Use the time frame. Uh, uh, Use the time before each recording to prepare, read the question, and think about the topic and the context. Mhm. Try to answer the questions when the recording is played the first time. Then you can check these answers when you hear the recording for the second time. Okay? In parts 1 and 3, remember that the order of information in the recording matches the order of information questions on the page, just like we saw in the reading. In part 2, try to use the actual words that you hear and look at the information both before and after the gap. Let's just call up um, paper 2. Let's have a look at the sample paper. So, as we did yesterday, we'll refer back to it, the listening. Okay. Let's have a look here. Right, part 1. Let's finish with the do's and don'ts, and then we'll look into it individually. Right, in part 2, check that your answer is correctly spelled and that you've copied only the missing words onto the answer sheet. Okay, let's look at part 1 and part 2, just to understand what they're trying to say. Part 1. You will hear 3 different extracts for questions 1 to 6. Choose the answer, A, B, or C, which fits best according to what you hear. There are 2 questions for each extract. Right. Extract 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Right. So, as it said, try to answer the questions the first time you hear it, and then check your work in the second listening. Looks very pretty straightforward. Okay, let's see. In part 2, you'll hear a student called Josh Brady talking about visiting South Africa as part of his university course in botany. For questions 7 to 14, complete the sentences with a word or short phrase. Right, let's see. They don't give any examples here, do they? As well as his research project, Josh planned to write for a website while he was in Africa. Right. So this is a type of freestyle, huh? University course in botany. Okay, right. Maybe it'd be something connected with botany here. I would suppose. Okay, let's keep going with the do's and don'ts. In part 4, remember that there are 2 questions for each speaker. Read through both tasks in multiple matching in the pause before you hear the recording for the first time. Okay, in part 4. Copy your answers carefully onto the answer sheet and check that you have followed the numbering correctly. Okay, let's just have a look. This is part 2. Part 3, okay. You'll hear an interview in which 2 journalists called Jenny Langdon and Peter Sharples are talking about their work. For questions 15 to 20, choose the answer A, B, C, or D, which fits best according to what you hear. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then in part 4, you will hear 4 short extracts in which people are talking about changing their jobs. Okay, we have 2 tasks. For questions 21 to 25, choose The list A through H to um, a, from the list A to H, the reason each speaker gives for changing jobs. Speaker one, two, three, four. Five speakers. Task 2 for questions 26 to 30. Choose from a list A to H what each speaker feels about their new job. Okay. Right. Speaker one, two, three, four, five. So the suggestion was to read the tasks, um, read these prompts very quickly, these responses, right, beforehand to get an idea on what your choices will be. Again, when you listen, you must complete, while you listen, you must complete both tasks. Hmm. Right. That's it. Right. Let's go back. Let's look at the don'ts now. Right. Don't use a pen on the answer sheet. Use a pencil. Right. Now we've seen in the writing that you must use a pen and not a pencil. So I guess you should have both, right? Answers written in pen cannot be read by the marking machine, um, which means 0 points. Rub out any answers you want to change using an eraser. Don't worry if you miss a question. Continue with the next question. Uh, then, um, then listen again for the missing information when you hear the recording for the second time. Right. Okay. So don't panic if you didn't hear all the answers on the first listening. You will on the second. Don't try to write very long answers in part two, and don't repeat information that is already in the sentences. Okay. We saw that in part two, right? I'm going to cheat here and see about the answers here in just a moment to see exactly what they want from that. Um, don't panic at any time during the exam. Don't panic. About a difficult question in part two, there is plenty of time to write your answers as you listen. Okay. Don't leave a blank space on the answer sheet. If you're not sure about an answer, guess. Right. Right. Okay. I want to look at this very quickly because I'm curious. Because I haven't looked at this yet. I'm sorry. Listening. And there it is. These are one-word answers. We're probably going to see this on the site right now. Report, fire. Right. Okay. So in part two, as we've seen in, where are you in part two? Right. A report. That would be the correct word for a website while he was in Africa. He's there studying botany. So I guess a report would be the most fitting um, um, written communication that he would produce. Okay. And etc. etc. We won't go through all of them. Just for you to know that, where is that? Just for you to know uh, that they're all basically one word, maybe two word. Safari truck, needles. Okay. So don't panic about part two. Okay. Right. Of course, you'll have the this sample. You'll have the sample paper in a link in the description below the video. Right. Okay. And we're done here with this. Let's close that. Excuse me. Okay. Let's have a look at our website. Right. Here in the listening. Okay. Total time allotted 40 minutes. There are 4 parts to the exam, which we've just seen. There are 30 individual questions in total. Um, right, we have recordings maybe from. I was thinking in the form of. I don't know. Not seeing very well today. I don't know why. Monologues, radio broadcasts, speeches, talks, lectures, and um, um, anecdotes, etc. Or interacting speakers, radio broadcasts, interviews, discussions, conversations, a whole mix. So, how do we practice? It's going to tell us right now. Right. Well, first let's look in part one. three short extracts from conversations between interacting speakers. There are two multiple choice questions for each extract, and you have to choose A, B, or C. Okay, how do we practice? Listening for feeling, for attitude, for opinion, for purpose, for function, agreement, course of action, listening for gist, detail, etc. It's a lot of different listening abilities, right? What could you do to practice this? You have interactive speakers. Well, I don't know. Maybe soap operas in English, because they have a huge range of emotion and drama
Mm.
and agreement and purpose and scandals, and you know that might it just came to mind right now. There are six questions here. Each one carries 1 mark. We've looked at part two, right? A monologue lasting approximately 3 minutes. Okay, you have to complete the sentence on the question paper with the missing information, which you hear on the recording. So 3 minutes, you hear it twice, so that's 6 minutes. Okay,
Yeah, just I guess we'll be given just the 1 point, yeah, 1 mark for each correct answer.
right. 1 mark per answer in all of the listening.
And we'll get 30 marks, yeah, for listening.
30 possible marks, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mark, but then it goes into a percentage. I'm not quite sure how the office is going to calculate the scores in the end. If it's just going to be straight marks, or well, I'll speak to Bezod about that. I haven't had a
Wait,
chance to speak to him about that yet.
what would you recommend to boost our third part, multiple choice?
The
I found this part three just more challenging, just more complicated.
right, okay. Now
I could hear just yeah, I can hear, but it seems impossible to memorize, and I couldn't manage. I did this listening and I couldn't manage.
did
But
you
I listened,
download
I
it from?
understood, but I forgot.
Well, we need to practice. Did you download it from here, from the website?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Right, in part three. Um, well, let's look at that. Okay, if it's difficult for you, it's probably difficult for everyone to some extent. Um, Let me see. Let me open it up again. Bear with me. Listening. And let's go quickly to part three and have a look. It can be kind of intimidating, I guess, but the recording is in the same sequence as the questions, right? We've understood that. Where did we see that? It was in the book, which I've closed. But let me just open it up again. IDB. Let's see what they say about that. Just to double check, just so that we can be 100% sure about what we're doing. This is the writing. Next is the listening. Um, right. And it was, where did it say that? In part three. Mm-hmm. No, it didn't say that. Part one, part two. Um, right. Remember in parts one and three that the order of information in the recording matches the order of information and questions on the page. Okay. So that's a big plus. And where's my paper? That's a big plus. So as we're looking at here, as you're listening to it twice, okay. Now, as soon as you get the paper, I suggest scanning this, understanding this immediately, and start reading the questions. Um, First, read the questions, all of them, if you can, all of them, to understand what's being asked and understand the questions. Okay, what does Ginny say about the story which made her name? Okay, What does Ginny suggest about, etc., etc., etc.? Okay, just to understand what they're asking you, and then as you're listening to it, it's going to be sequential. So the answer for 15 is going to come at the very beginning of the recording, and then second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and and each of the recordings, or each of the listenings are played twice, right? On your sample exam, it repeated, right?
Mhm.
Right. So you need to understand as much as possible in the first listening so that you can refine your work in the second listening. It's challenging. I know it's difficult. Um, let's just analyze these very quickly. Let's look at how clever Cambridge is being. Okay, here she'd been on the outlook for just such a lucky break. Okay, what does Ginny say about the story which made her name? Which made her name? Okay, which made her famous. She'd been on the lookout for just such a lucky break, something lucky. She resented colleagues trying to take the credit for it. Uh-huh. That's very negative. She wasn't actually responsible for the finished article. Okay. She asked for a more prestigious job on the strength of it. Hmm. So which one was right?
C.
C. She wasn't actually
Yeah.
right. Okay. Um, practice, I guess, dear. Practice. We only have two sample exams, but let's see. Wait. Let's go back to our site. Let's see what kind of materials they have for us. They do have stuff for us, and um, we've seen all the different formats in the preparation.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any another samples
Um, no, there are no other samples. Now
except to this?
you have the sample exam 1 and 2. Okay, here we're going to go through this today.
Mhm.
This will help us with our approach on how to best respond to each part of the exam. Okay, the listening exam. But now we've seen. Um, wait, duplicate this. Bear with me. Now we've seen also that they give us other possibilities, free online activities, and this is all of them. I believe I included the link. I think there's an individual link for this, and there's 36 different activities here, and they focus now here. If you want to say, let's say, listening proficient, you have 12.
Just Mr. Chester, just can I see the link?
Uh, yeah. Can you see? I'll put it immediately in our chat. How's that?
I'll take a photo there. Yes.
Did you take a snapshot? Oh, wait. All right. You can copy and paste. Everyone can copy and paste. It's in the chat. All right.
Yeah.
So use the filters here. Don't just go proficient. Make it difficult. And you have listening, pronunciation for your speaking, reading skills, speaking skills, vocabulary building, writing, and grammar, guys. So
Hmm.
and they're all it's from Cambridge. They're all very well made. So this is how you can really practice. Other than practicing the simulations, okay, and writing about anything and everything, okay. This is an excellent source for you to practice your English, all aspects of your English. Okay. So yes, it's challenging. It's a C1 exam. It's definitely not going to be easy, but it's not going to be impossible. Don't panic, you guys. You can do it. You know that. Um, you just have to believe in yourself. Do the work. Don't panic. Don't be nervous. Okay. Um, and I know that you're all English language ninjas, and you'll do excellent on the exam. Right. Where were we? We are down here. Let's finish my train of thought here with the listening. So, in part 3, excuse me, how to practice, what to do to practice, listening for attitude, opinion, agreement, gist, feeling, basically everything from above. In part 4. All right, a series of 5 themed monologues of approximately 30 seconds each. On the question paper, there are 2 tasks, and for each task, you have to match each of the 5 speakers to one of the 8 possible answers. There are 10 questions, 1 mark per question. Are there any questions about the format of the exam? Where is my exam?
No question.
Right now, here, I'm actually curious because you have 2 tasks, and there are 2 different listenings. So I believe you will need to answer these as you're doing the first listening. Then you'll need to answer these. But no, I don't want to say that. Just give me a second. I want to go check. Let me just check. It's better to know exactly what it is. And let's see.
Now turn to part 4.
Yeah.
The family car sales business was the obvious and safe career route for me. Would have been better to work as an intern for free for a while to learn the ropes, but it's all about seizing the moment. Too good an opportunity to miss. Now I've got a foot in the door, I'm pretty optimistic about making a go of it.
Okay. Right.
Speaker 5.
Speaker 5.
I had a responsible job that I'd worked hard for. Most people.
Right, guys. I'm not quite sure. Right. Have you tried part 4, dear? I don't know. Okay.
No, I've tried also.
Excuse me?
I've tried part 4.
Excellent. Okay. So what was the format in the recordings? Did you hear? Because I believe, is it just 5 recordings repeated twice, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 record, just speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, 4, 5, and here just you listen again.
And okay, right. So twice. So you need to try to answer these questions as much as possible during the first listening. I would suppose, I would suggest, and then in the second listening, to just refine your answers. Right. Seems pretty straightforward. Right, guys. Okay. So here I have a lovely activity for us. It's a bit too big. How are we doing on time? We're okay. Right. Now this is dealing with listening part 1. Right. And did I close that? Listening part 1. Okay. Just to look back to see what that was. Listening part 1. Right. Right. Okay. Right. We'll run through this, scan through this. I'll leave you a link below the video in the description. Once I get it uploaded and processed, okay, it'll be available, and then you can use this to help you with listening 1. And other than that, guys, what can we do to practice our listening? Can we voice some ideas so maybe we can be inspirational for people that are maybe are kind of worried
For example, whenever an opportunity turns up, I try to listen some podcasts or whatever it is, or even while I'm doing the household chores,
right.
I try to listen and I try to create immense atmosphere.
Right. Okay, that's good advice. Are you wearing headphones or?
Yeah, headphones.
Right. Okay. Good. Excellent. Any other ideas, guys?
Here in Uzbekistan, just women are responsible for all the household chores. And as for me, I live in just rural areas. That's why we've got a bunch of work to do.
Right.
So sometimes it seems impossible to manage our time to engage in the reading or listening. That's why while we're doing household chores, I just listen some podcasts listening.
Podcasts, right?
Yeah, podcasts.
Right. Okay. You could also listen to BBC News. You can listen to talk shows. You could listen to, like I said, soap operas, um, um, even comedy shows or public speakers, TED Talks, for example. There are many things that you can do, not just maybe.
Yeah, the many different pronunciation. Just I'm going to ask some question. Just one question, not
Yes.
some questions. Can just should we say target or target?
Repeat. Target.
Target or target?
Target. Opa. Target. I've kicked the.
Target. Just
Yeah, I'm like
in some
aiming.
listening, I've heard this target. In some listening, I've heard target.
Target. I've never heard before.
In some listening, I've heard. That's what I'm asking.
Right. No, target. It's most definitely target.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Even in British English, it's target. Right. Right, guys. So we'll run through this activity. Okay. And obviously they believe that listening part one is maybe one of the most difficult. But let's see. Okay. Right. We're going to review the format of part one. We did that. Build your awareness of informal and colloquial English. Practice understanding how intonation and stress affect meaning. Right, okay. Explore strategies for making the most out of your listening exam practice. Okay. Before you start, locate the audio you need for this lesson. I've located that, okay. And I'll provide it in a link, okay. We won't listen to it now. Or perhaps we will. I'll have to find it on my computer. Where did I download that? Okay, I'll find it. Right, it's from the Cambridge Exam Booster C1 Advanced. It's a book, or it's a training course for the Cambridge exam. I found the listening we need. I will provide it in the links in the description below the video. Right, it's here, but you have to buy it. They want you to buy it, but I found it somewhere online. It's okay. Right. Type camera. Okay, no, we don't need that. We have track 3. We have it at our disposal. The introduction. In listening part 1, you hear a variety of dialogues or conversations. Let's start by thinking about your experience listening to and participating in conversations in English. Think about these questions, reading conversations in English. Okay. When was the last time you had a conversation in English? Who did you speak to? Was the conversation formal or informal? Have you ever accidentally eavesdropped on other people's conversations? In English, obviously. Who are you eavesdropping on, and can you remember what they were talking about? Okay. Right. Kind of abstract ideas here. Right, but right. So do that. Think about the last time you had an English conversation. Was it a colleague? Was it a friend? Was it an acquaintance? Was it work related? Was it formal? Was it informal? Eavesdropping, I don't know. You know the word to eavesdrop, right? To listen
Yes,
in
we
on
know.
somebody else's conversation, right? That's not very polite.
Yes. Not
But
polite.
but I've done it. Okay. And for example, in wait, I'm just trying to put the dynamics in place. Especially when I go to a place, okay, I live in Bulgaria, I've lived in Italy. Normally people, if I'm speaking only in English on the phone or with the person I'm sitting with, they don't believe that I speak the language. So, and they start talking, they might be talking about us. I can understand them. So in a sense, I'm eavesdropping, right? Right, so make notes in your workbook. Okay. Let's just keep going. Right, tips, we like tips. Make time to practice listening to English. We've just talked about that. Just like reading, speaking, and writing, it takes time to develop listening skills. So make time and find opportunities to listen to English as often as you can. Okay. Here's some ideas and suggestions here. Download and listen to podcasts, bravo, in English on topics you find interesting. The more interested you are in the topic, which is very important, the easier it is to understand because you'll be more mentally engaged in what they're saying. Check out BBC Sounds. Okay. Should we just have a look at that? Let's see what happens. BBB Sounds. Follow the link. Right. Okay. Be a rock star. You can listen live to radio. Okay. Right. I'm too big here. Let me scale down. All right. So you have lots of different possibilities of podcasts and different presentations in English. Okay. You'll have this document. So you'll have this link. Okay. Right. And you should be able to find something that interests you. Also, TED Talks. Many times they use some visuals, but what's important is what's being said. Right. And we know TED Talks, right?
No.
No. My God. Oh, my frog. Right.
I have no interest about social networks or any websites.
No, this is not a. Yes, okay, but this is something else. TED. This is a technologies and I know I forget the. Damn, I forget what that is. I keep forgetting that. Search for TED. TED ideas. What does it mean? TED. TED. Grr. Right. Well, there's an. It's an abbreviation of something interesting. I can't remember what it is right now. I'm sorry. Right. But as a teacher and as an individual, I really love this website because, for example, give me a topic. Any topic.
Science.
Science. Oh, there's going to be a lot.
Oh, okay.
So, science, and let's see. They have over.
Well, we can say how to motivate people to study.
Excuse me. I'm sharing, right?
Well, I think that's I would suggest some other topic that would be interesting to us all. How to motivate students to study.
Okay. I'm not assigning science. I'm just giving you an example right now. Look on the left side of the page. There are 1,709 talks on science broadly, and then it goes into individual let's say categories of science. Let's put Uzbekistan, and let's see what happens. Hope I didn't spell that correctly. Yes, did I not? No. Right, Uzbekistan. Hello. Right. Okay, so they have some stuff on Uzbekistan. I'm just saying, just throwing something out there. What about lemons? Something weird. There's stuff on. Okay, his name is Lemon, I guess. Okay. Anyway, there are just thousands and thousands of talks, and let's go back. I'm spending time here because I believe it's something of real value. Okay. Now here we have 15 playlist. A love letter to science, just for example. Okay, we're not going to listen to it. Right. And this is a playlist, and then you have all these other talks related to this main topic here. And let's look at a little one very quickly, because sometimes they have some that are shorter, 5 minutes, others are up to 15 minutes. Okay, and this is, if you click on this, I'm going to show you why I love this platform. Not only do I find the content compelling, interesting, engaging, because I can basically, anything I'm looking about, it has things about UFOs, about aliens, about science, about the animal kingdom, just finance, math, quantum mechanics, anything about the universe, dark matter. It's just filled with things that could be that are compelling to me, and that also become or can be compelling to my students, and also to you. Now, this is why, because it gives you the transcript. No, I mentioned this before, I think in the first meeting. It gives you the transcripts. So you can either listen first and then read the transcripts, or read the transcripts and then listen.
Mm-hmm.
And here you can find all these are going to be in C1, C2 level, or most of them, okay? If you have a native speaker, then it's going to be complicated English. So you can learn new vocabulary, ways of saying things that you might even take away for your speaking exam. Some clever way they've said something or paraphrased something, or you understand. So analyzing the text and listening to an interesting, something compelling, engaging, something that you want to know more about. Okay, it is an excellent source. And TED ideas worth sharing. I'll probably
Thank
I'll leave this open. I'll put the link in, but I'll give it to you now for those who are maybe anxious to get started immediately. Let me just put it in the chat. It's easy. It's TED.com, but let's just do that. Okay, right. So not only for you today or for the preparation of your exam, you can use this in your English classes in school. Why? Because you have the text. Okay, you can. Okay, sometimes on YouTube you can find some videos with the transcripts. Okay, but it's quite rare unless they're built specifically for English teaching and English learning. Okay, but TED Talks are not. And there's just so much you can do with the text anyway. Working on maybe warm-up activities, dealing with the topic, maybe the name of the author, or just some general inquiries about what I'm going into teaching things right now. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm sorry, but you could do a lot with the text and a video recording, of course. And you're probably learning these things in your other course, so I don't want to go too much into it. Right. Okay. So let's keep going here. Right. Watch up-to-date shows and films for a variety of from a variety of English-speaking countries. All right, different accents, common, informal, or colloquial words and phrases that you may not hear often unless you interact with native speakers. Okay, right. As you watch, pay attention to everyday informal scenes. Okay, between friends and family members. Make a list in your notebook of useful and interesting new vocabulary and phrases you hear. Okay, dealing with native speakers. Because when two native speakers are speaking together, they're going to be using different language than if one of them were speaking to you. Because they might not think that you'd understand the idiomatic phrase or the slang, or maybe the speed of their conversation, their tone, their sarcasm or humor, whatever. So try to focus on that. Of course, analyze everything you hear. Let's see. Step 1, listening part 1. What do you already know about C1 advanced listening paper? About the C1 advanced listening paper, we know everything so far. We think, anyway, right? Read and complete the text about listening part 1 with the correct words from the box. Right, okay. Well, I'll leave that to you. Step 2, find out more. Click on the C1 Advanced Handbook. I believe that's our book, isn't it? Yes, it is. Oh, the handbook for teachers. I've yet to see this. Right, guys. You will have a link for this also. And let's just go to our listening and see what they say. Okay, we've seen all this. This is just brought out in more detail. We've seen this on the website. and we've looked through this in the do's and don'ts, but I will provide this for you so that you can go in and take a deeper, let's say a deeper look into it, huh? Okay, guys? Right. Scan the information on page 55 to find any answers you missed up here. Okay. But we've covered all this. Step 3, check your answers in the answer key at the end of this document. Okay, you can do that. Right. That's just to make sure that you know exactly what needs to be done, not only in listening part 1, but part 2, part 3, and part 4. Okay, so we don't have that moment of confusion where you say, "Oh, what am I okay, I don't remember what I'm supposed to do." You get agitated, flustered, and then you start to panic. But if we know in a very concrete way exactly what we have to do in each part of the exam, then we have that built-in confidence. We know what we have to do. We can focus only on the information, the tasks, and the questions and the answers. Right, okay. Here, the dialogue and listening part 1 can be formal or informal. In this lesson, we are just going to focus on informal and colloquial language. Listen to 4 short dialogues here. Let's see what it gives us. It's leading us back to that page where... okay. No. Okay, lovely. It leads you to this. Sorry, guys. It leads you to this. We're not going to do this because I don't believe we wouldn't have enough time. But let's give me a moment. Just let me read the descriptions here. We're going to focus on informal. Listen to 4 short dialogues here and answer the questions on the screen that correspond to each dialogue. Informal and colloquial language. Listen again for colloquial language. Match the colloquial expressions to their meaning. Okay. Gasping for, cheers, choke a block. Choke a block. I have no idea what that means. Splash out on. These are British sayings. Splash out. I would need to hear it in context. Gear. Okay. Gear up, maybe. And no doubt. Let's see how long it is, guys. Let's just see. Oh, it's 5 to 10 minutes. Guys, would you like to do this together, or shall I leave it to you as homework?
Maybe just as a homework, please.
Oh, okay. Right. Then we have other questions here to go through. Okay, to check your comprehension. Right. Okay. Follow this example. It's showing you how to deal with new vocabulary here. To splash out. To splash on. To splash on. Splash on. Maybe that means to go away. I'm not quite sure. Ways to organize the new information. Right. Pronunciation. Right. It is possible to put additional stress on different words in a sentence to change its meaning. In the listening paper, you may need to recognize this emphasis, this emphatic stress to understand the speaker's intention correctly. Right. Practice the different stress patterns by reading sentences 1, 2, 3. Is that here? Maybe that's down below. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, right. Aloud. Place the emphasis on the stressed words. Why not record yourself, and you'll have that instrument at your disposal after the lesson. On your phone, you can do it on your phone, then listen back. This will help you to notice how the meaning changes, right? Okay. Match each sentence to the correct meaning, then check your answers. Okay, answer key at the end of the document. Which words do you think the speaker would stress in A to C? Right. James told me he was finished, that he finished the project yesterday. James told me he finished the project yesterday. James told me he finished the project yesterday. Right, okay. Can you tell that the meanings change slightly?
Yeah, here just They emphasize the person
Mhm.
for James for the first sentence, and the second, the speaker or writer just emphasize action,
Right.
the work,
Because you've okay. Right.
especially he finished it.
Right. James told me he finished the project yesterday. James. All right. James told me he finished the project yesterday. Okay. So here he's stating a
Mhm.
fact, and maybe you're checking him on his
He
on
could
his
he
mind.
could manage. Yeah,
Excuse me.
he's reminding. Finish it. Completed section. Yeah, for
Right.
the second
Right. Right. Right.
sentence.
Right. The emphasis on is the finished action. He didn't tell me Jackie did the most. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Ah, right. Sorry, I didn't connect these here. James told me James told me he finished the project yesterday. Oh, I can't believe he only I can't believe it. He only just I can't believe he only just started it yesterday. That seems wonky to me. I'm sorry. I can't believe. There's no comma here. Either way, you understand the meaning. If there's a mistake, it's a mistake. Um, and then James told me he finished the project yesterday. He didn't tell me Jackie did most of the work. Aha. He didn't tell me Jackie did most of the work. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so just play with that, okay? And you'll have the recording device on my website. Okay, excuse me. So, for try this stressed words and meaning practice exercise from the C1 Advanced Participation Preparation website. You have another link here because it'll have one on pronunciation. Another lovely exercise. Okay, so do that as homework. I should let me just call that back up. Right. Okay, then it gives you an exam practice task. Now I'm hoping that it's different than and that's with the listening track 3, which will also be linked below the video. Okay, um, right. I'll just let you go through that. Return to the audio you downloaded. Listen to the recording twice. Okay, mark one answer to each question at the end of the first listening, even if you're not sure it is correct. Okay, the second listening can then be used to confirm the answer or not. Do not use a dictionary. No cheating. Okay, and here's the actual activity here. Okay, you'll have access to this. Then, of course, checking your answers. Right, top tip: um, record and track your progress. Notebook of scores and any practice tests. Try to gauge your progress. Okay, uh, right. Take a note of that. Get ready to reflect common problems and solutions. Okay, in order to improve your listening skills, it is important to understand why you missed a correct answer. Look at the list of common problems learners experience with listening shown in Table 1. Where's Table 1? Perhaps, there's Table 1. Okay. Below, which of these problems have you experienced? Okay. Scan these. Well, let's look at them closely together because I think this is important. This is Table 2. Right. I stopped paying attention. I lost focus because I was worrying about the previous answer or an unknown word. There is a word I don't know in the question or the answer. The speaker pronounced the word too quickly. I didn't recognize the pronunciation. Right. These all make perfect sense. Right. I mentioned preparing yourself psychologically with any of the topics or the tasks that you have. You need to become interested in it. You need to be engaged. even if it's something you know nothing about, or something you wouldn't normally be interested in. You need to mentally say, okay, I want to do this, I want to know about this. You need to engage yourself, okay? And you stop paying attention because it's not interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You lose focus. Okay. When you're worrying about the answers to the previous question or the next question or an unknown word, um,
Yeah, this happens with me
right?
frequently.
If this starts happening, guys, if this starts happening, stop looking at the paper. Stop looking at your paper and listen. Refocus. Refocus
Mm-hmm.
on what's being said. Okay? Because if you look at something, you're going to you're going to focus. Your attention is fixed on this. It's a dilemma. Oh my God, I don't know this word. Oh my God, I can't answer the question. You get nervous, this and that, and you stop listening, and your comprehension goes to basically zero.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. What about the second problem? I lost focus because I was worrying about the previous answers and noun word.
Okay, well, you have two listenings, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have two listenings to you listen to each recording twice.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. Um, the previous answer, you mean maybe they're talking about in the previous listening or something like that.
Okay.
Well, no. If you're on question 15 and you're worried about question 13 because you don't think you got it right, or there's a word there's words on the page that you don't understand, and if you focus on them, they become a dilemma, and you'll actually start your comprehension. It's not that you stop listening, you stop understanding. Your comprehension is your concentration is focused on something else. So
Mm-hmm.
um, don't worry about anything in the first listening. For one, read everything.
Okay.
If you don't understand a word, um, if it's not obvious in the context, just keep going. You might understand it in the context of the listening. Read and understand the questions that are expected of you. You're expected to respond to, and just don't panic,
Okay.
right? And just do what you can, and don't worry about anything in the first listening. Worry about understanding what's being said as much as possible. Then,
Mm-hmm.
if you have worries, then okay, you can focus on that in the second listening because you've already listened to it once. So you're going to have a very good gist about the topic, the motives, um, maybe the tones and intonations inside the conversations or whatever the recording is. Okay, and then you can focus on, okay, what's that word? Is it in the text? Did they say something in the recording? Um, is it a word that I really need to understand, or can I understand basically what they're asking so I can respond, so I can answer the question? So um, don't worry in the first listening. Don't worry at all. Okay, don't panic. Um, but you need to focus on the listening the first time, only that. And what you're doing is you're just scanning the paper for understanding what you can now. Okay, and you need to focus on listening to understand as much as possible, and then you're going to review in the second listening, and you'll see that if you don't get stuck, if you don't panic, um, and you focus on understanding what is being said in the first listening, and you can do that and still scan the paper without focusing on some dilemma or something like that, scanning just the questions, for example. I find that very beneficial. Don't worry about the answers right now. Just the questions, the main topics. Okay, and that way you're going to mentally start um, um, gathering information or ideas about these different five or four or six different questions or prompts or you understand what I'm saying. So right. So it's important. Okay, you guys. I guess we answered them all, right? Right. Um, the speaker pronounced the word too quickly. I didn't recognize the pronunciation. TED Talks. TED Talks. Or you need to start listening to a range of native speakers that are not speaking in English broadcasts, English educational broadcasts. You need people just speaking regularly, radio broadcasts, news broadcasts, um, TED Talks, for example. They're going to be using presentation language, but you're going to find people from all over the world, and they're going to have different accents. Okay, let's keep going here. How are we doing? Right, English qualifications. Oh, here's our possible suggested solutions, and you'd choose those that would be applicable to you. But let's have a look. What do they suggest? Take regular breaks. Okay, we won't be able to do that on the exam. Practice regularly to help you get used to this. Yes, okay, good idea. Try to avoid practicing when you are tired. I think you guys are always tired. Note down the stress patterns. Okay. Remember, you will hear the recording twice, just like I said. Write questions using the new words to ask and answer with a study partner. Um, Write personalized sentences with the new words. What I'm talking about, new vocabulary here, right? On task 2. Right, there are 3 solutions to each problem. Match the solution to the problems and write them in the suggested solution column in table 1. Okay, all right. So 3 answers to each of these. You guys can do this. Reflect on your answers. Now listen and read again. Use the audio script below. This is for the task 3 that I'm going to include. Pay close attention to the sections of the audio script that gives the answers to the exam task. These are highlighted in bold. No, this is the, let's see, I believe, yes, this is the task 3 one. Okay, right, these are the answers. As we've seen with the reading, understand why these are the right answer. Okay, right, just highlight in bold. Pay close attention to the sections of the audio script that gives the answers to the exam task. Is that down here? Yes, right. Again, we have some formatting problems. Um, well, you'll do the listening, so you'll be able to understand. Right. So basically, they give you the answers here. Okay, but we need to understand. Okay, your answer here, and then the problem and the solution. Okay. Um, Reflecting back to these problems here. Why didn't you? Why did you get the? If you made a mistake, why was it a mistake? Okay. Then you have the script here to review, to help you finalize what was said, what was being said, what you heard, or what you weren't able to understand or comprehend. Okay, do that. Okay, right. A couple of pages here. Um, right. Make the most out of the audio script. Right. Okay. You could read and listen many times. You can do it here. You can do it in a TED Talk because they have the transcripts. That's why I'm saying that the transcript is very important for practicing. Okay, because if you, for example, if you listen to a TED Talk given by a Scottish man with a heavier accent, it might be quite difficult for you to understand. And this is an English exam, so you might have a Scottish accent, you might have a strong British accent. So practice listening, read the transcript, listen to it again, maybe read the transcript. As many, analyze it for language, and this just use it to the best of your ability. Okay, study plans. We've talked about this. Okay, we don't really have time for this. If you want to use this, if you're such an organized individual and you can structure your time, I believe you guys are extremely busy. Okay, but maybe organizing your time would help you to do more. So here's a smart plan if you need one, okay, if you'd like one. And here's the answer key for the things from before, and that's about it. What's this? Yes, right. You don't need to look at those. This will be provided under the link. Excuse me, guys. Okay, let's see. I think we've covered basically everything here. Questions? Questions, comments,
It's clear.
ideas?
It's clear.
What about studying advice for your colleagues? How much time do you guys have? You work all day. You come home.
What?
How much time do you have? You
As for me, I've got only 2 hours.
Each day?
yeah, each day. General.
I've got only 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Now today's Saturday. Did you work today? Did anyone work today?
Yeah.
Really, you're working on Saturdays also. These guys are slave drivers. No, I'm kidding. All right. So, okay, 2 hours a day is not a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of time. Listenings you can do while you're traveling to and from work, maybe, if you're not talking on the phone. If you have podcasts or you have you can access TED Talks online, so you can do that, or some other podcast. Writing is going to be the challenge, I believe.
Mhm.
Right. Well, 2 hours a day. Well, maximize your time.
Yeah, I know.
You need to maximize your time. I'm sorry, I'm not being sarcastic about this. I
Mm.
I appreciate and respect your responsibilities because you work all day. You wake up in the morning. You deal with children, breakfast, and all that. Getting them
Yeah.
ready for school. You take them to school. You go to work. You come home. You cook. You clean. You deal with the kids. Um, you deal with
Take care of the husband.
take care of the husband, right? Right. Don't your husbands? Don't they help?
No,
No.
just he doesn't help with
I,
anything because he always feels tired. Yeah, he comes home tired.
right.
Yeah, they have their own work.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
Okay, we will try to maximize our time.
Yeah, maximize your time. But there's always extra minutes. You know that. I know because I know that everyone wants to just sit down, take a deep breath, and relax and think about something, some lovely candid thing or something like that. But we only have like a week, 2 weeks, right? So we need to really push ourselves and really try to find as much time as possible to practice these tasks.
Mm, yeah.
Right.
In writing, you said yesterday's lessons that they just pay attention to our writing, handwriting. Yeah.
They need to be able to read it. It needs to be legible.
Mm.
You can write in handwriting, but it needs to be legible.
Just frankly speaking, I've got a terrible handwriting. That's why it seems illegible sometimes. I know it, but this is my handwriting.
Well, then you can write in block letters. That's okay.
Block letters. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to write in handwriting. You can even write in all capitals, they said, and that's okay.
Mm.
All right. Any other questions, ladies? So, what are we going to do this
No,
evening?
that's clear. Everything is clear.
What are we going to do this evening to practice our English?
Work with listening.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Looking through TED Docs.
Okay. Right. So listening tonight is listening. What about in the mornings? See, me, it's not fair to compare you with myself because I sleep 6 hours only, and I'm up early every morning, and so I have more time to do more of the things that I need to get done. Let's say. Okay, well, right. I think the goal for this evening is listening, right? Okay, listening
Yeah.
practice.
If it's possible, all of them, all the skills, reading, writing, speaking, if it's possible. We'll see.
Right, okay. Yeah, if you're a ninja, if you're really a ninja, you'll be going at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Right, do what you can, guys. Tomorrow is our last day. And
Yeah.
that's,
Yes.
we're going to talk about the speaking. Right. Now I have, actually, I have a sample, I have a video recording of an actual exam, Cambridge exam. It's a couple years old, but it's a real exam. Okay, and it also has the examiner's comments based on the exam. So we'll probably look at that together in class. Okay, it's about 15 minutes.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, so we can look at the responses. We can analyze what they did well, what they did poor, where they did poorly, and maybe we can understand how we can, improve our own speaking. Okay, and you have the tool. I'll have the tool. Did I leave that open? I did somewhere. To record your voice. The tool I'll put on my website so you can record and download um, anything you want to practice speaking. So, right, guys. I think that's all for the day.
Okay.
Thank you for your time, okay, and your patience and understanding. Try to find time to study, okay? Don't panic. You guys will do well on the exam. You know that. The idea here is who's going to be number 1, number 2, and number 3 in the competition, right?
Yeah.
Number 4 and 5.
Oh, they have 4 and 5, really?
Yes, there are 5 winners.
Oh, really? 5 winners.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Have you started the teaching course yet?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Oh, that's tomorrow, right? You told me it's tomorrow. Right, okay. Right,
Okay,
guys.
thank you. Thank you,
Well, thank you very
listeners.
much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening. Try to find some time to study, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Take care.
See you.
See you.